25th, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Orlando, Indianapolis, Houston, and now. Yeah. Black Ink Radio. You know.
I don't instigate no beef, I'm pushing peace. Brother died in the winter, bullets went through his fleece. Know some brothers changed their life when they had children. They say, how I'ma raise my babies if I mess around dying these streets. Yeah, gotta keep my family close. I know some snakes that told me that they was my family. Told them they can't be both, it's deeper than blood. I got some people I love, ain't blood, we family and faith. I had a brother get killed, ain't wanna believe it. Kept saying he can't be gone, I'm hood to hood, I'm block to block. He told me the ops stay right up the street. He told me they better not come on his side. But white boy walking his dog with ease. Something ain't making no sense, something ain't adding up. We ain't at war with our enemy, cause our enemy controlling the way that we think and the way that we speak. So yeah, I don't instigate no beef, I'm pushing peace. It's too much pain and too much blood to just say squash the beef. Got some brothers used to be in rival gangs. I asked them how they get along and they said knowledge itself was the key. When you're not really in the field, some stuff you'll never see. God with us, so we go where most people scared to be. Whether you out south, up north, out west, or you over east. Whether you believe it or not, our unity gon' set us free. You know.
You know.
Hey, Trey Bless, you went crazy on this one, and what am I trying to say?
I got you.
I had to match your energy. Yeah, that's yeah. Whoa, I had enough of the regular. They try to get under my skin, but I pissed them off when I said don't register. He ain't nobody without the material, so we went and got a plethora. I told him to cut out the extra, we're doing too much and it isn't impressing us. Lately the Lord been blessing us, lately the Lord been testing us. Recently I did some sinning and took me an L, the Lord be checking us. Just getting started, ain't know when they finished, it's just the beginning, I'm setting up. My enemies talking about catching up, cause they know I'm way ahead of them, yeah. Whoa, who you know walk like this? Who you know talk like this? Who you know, yeah, back against the ropes, back against the wall, still overcame, I did. I ain't put the blame on shit, I just took the pressure to the chin. They just be talking and saying whatever, they only got rumors, ain't none of the factual. I got the receipts and I got the records to back up whatever I say. I hear what you saying, but you gotta show me, you gotta put it on display, yeah. Was mad before, they about to be mad again. Back then, man, it felt like in order to get it, I had to sin. I gotta look out for the people, look out for the family, and bag the M's. I know they was laughing in, now they wonder what's happening, yeah. I was getting wins back then, I wasn't even in my best shape, I was still showing up your top 10. They was trying to distract me, they know I'm a problem whenever I'm locked in. I just had to move around to clear the vision, they wanted me boxed in. I'm a man of my word, I lead a folly to the birds. They tried to kick me to the curb, but I'ma get what I deserve. And I can feel all that negative energy, get the sage, get the herbs. Had to make my own lane, hit a few potholes, but it worked. Yeah, childhood wasn't PG, too advanced in my preteens. Grown folks asking for advice when I thought that they was supposed to teach me. Mama told me that she's sorry for how I came up, I wasn't supposed to see things. Don't apologize, mama, if I wasn't exposed, then I wouldn't be me. Yeah, from the concrete grew a rose. They was looking for some extra attention, but I'ma leave them unknown. I've been deep off in my bag, feeling bad to the bone. I was only worried about all the cons, I had to focus on the pros. Yeah, was mad before, they about to be mad again. Back then, man, it felt like in order to get it, I had to sin. I gotta look out for the family, look out for the people, and bag the ends. I know they was laughing in, now they wonder what's happening. Yeah, you know. I ain't never just sing that soulful on this track. Oh my head,
Peace and blessings, beautiful people. It's your girl, High Heels. Not for the shoes, but for the healing of energy, the teleportation of higher vibrations. You are now listening to Oracle Connect on Black Ink Radio. What's up? So I'm going to start off introducing my co-host for today. This ain't just my guest. This is my co-host for today. This is my homie, Lightworker Wayne, yo. Can you just introduce yourself?
Peace and blessings, everyone. Tap into Black Ink Radio. My name is Lightworker Wayne. I'm a motivational speaker and behavioral health advocate. And today we're going to chill with the Oracle. We got some questions we're going to talk about some things, some consciousness that we're going to relay, and some light energy. So stay tuned.
Hey.
Let's get it!
Let's get it!
Hey.
Period. Yes, y'all got to get into it. This is like one of the most motivational people. So today, before we get started, I do want to open up and just pay a little bit of respect, a lot of bit of respect actually, and pay honor to the Honorable Student Minister, Dr. Ava Muhammad. So I will just speak the actual official statement from the Nation of Islam. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. O ye who believe, seek assistance through patience and prayer. Surely Allah is with patience, and speak not of those who are slain in Allah's way as dead, nay, alive, but perceive not. This was presented on August 26, 2022. Assalamu alaikum, dear believers. We regret to inform you of the passing of our sister, Student Minister Ava Muhammad, the national spokesperson of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Her passing was very sudden, and we are greatly pained over our loss. We will inform you of the time and place of her janazah. May Allah's peace be with the family and the believers. Your brothers and servant, Ismail R. Muhammad, on the behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Executive Shura Council of the Nation of Islam. So just recently, the student minister, Dr. Ava Muhammad, did pass. This woman right here, she held the position that Malcolm X held during the time of Elijah Muhammad, and this is a woman. And she was very powerful. When I first was starting to do my research about the Nation of Islam, somebody told me, hey, have you ever heard of Dr. Ava Muhammad? Because, you know, I'm kind of more of an independent woman, more powerful, dominant, masculine-ish kind of woman. Yes. So when I found her, I was like, okay, like I fit here. Because before I wasn't quite sure how I fit in the nation. And so her passing was very sudden. But may Allah be pleased with the work that she has done for us. I want to say the thing about her that I loved, I took a private lecture of hers in May, and it was called The Third Force. And so it talks about in creation, or in life, in this planet, there are three forces. So you have the force of creation, you have the force of destruction, and then you have the third force, the force of preservation. So anytime we create anything, if you've noticed, anytime you might start a new job, you start a new business, you start anything new that is of creation, there is a destructive force that comes about, right?
Wow, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So it is up to us to invoke that third force, the force of preservation, is what we have to invoke to continue what Allah has put into us to do. Islam is mathematics, right? So I say the formula or the equation that Allah has put into place, as you figure out that equation, you're going to have all sorts of destructive forces. You're going to have all sorts of barriers, all sorts of people coming into your way, right? And a lot of times when that happens, people think that this means that this isn't what you're supposed to do. Oh, I must not supposed to be doing this if it's so many things happening. But no, like what she was talking about is that this is your time to invoke that third force, the force of preservation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and if that, like, throughout this whole time.
That's all I would speak to the mic.
Yes, here and then on this side. Throughout this whole time, like since I started massage school in May. I decided to join the Nation. All of that, throughout all this process, there has been nothing but obstacles. Like nothing has happened the way that I wanted it to happen. But every time when I see that destructive force come into place, I think of what Dr. Muhammad was talking about with that force of preservation. Even when, this on a whole nother little, one thing I've noticed the most, like when I was a Christian, right? Because I went through this phase. I was like super Christian, like super, super Christian. Like I went to Mason Bethesda Church. It was the most random thing. like real talk. It was like down the street. It was down the street at an elementary school. But when I used to tell people I'm a Christian, that would be it. Like, oh, okay, cool. That's so cool. But now, like when I tell people, because people, like a lot of people ask me, like, why are you wearing this scarf on your head? Like, what's up with the hijab? So I'm saying, like, you know, I'm transitioning into becoming a Muslim.
Yes.
Or like with a lot of like people like my boss and stuff, I have to say like I'm joining the Nation of Islam, so I need time to go to class. And as soon as I say that, it's like suddenly people expect me to be this like Muslim scholar. Like I'm supposed to know like the autobiography and biography of Elijah Muhammad. I'm supposed to know everything about Louis Farrakhan. Like it's suddenly I've held to so much scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? And for Christians, it'd be like, you just got to go to church, and that means you're a Christian. But
yeah, so simple.
Yes, but it always drives me back to what Ava Muhammad was talking about. Like, you know what? That force is always going to be a force against you when you are doing what Allah has put in you to do. So I just always, like it's, and so throughout life, even when I say I'm creating time, it's because I'm just going to persevere through whatever is happening. So that's what I really want to remember the most about Minister Ava Muhammad is, you know, she was such a beautiful spirit, but very smart. She was an attorney, so she's very, very smart, very intelligent, but always keep that that force of preservation with you throughout whatever you do.
Right.
Okay.
Ooh, I definitely like that, and that's, see, I don't come from that background, but just knowing that it adds more clarity, because one of my things I do talk about is perseverance, keeping it going, and it provides an explanation, right? That okay, you have some struggles that's come along, you have some negativity that comes on, those are the obstacles why you're creating, so you gotta persevere. So definitely thank you for that. I definitely received that knowledge.
Yeah. It was very powerful, and I know that it seems like redundant. Like some people are like, well, duh, but no. Like seriously, a lot of people will quit things that are their purpose because you see obstacles. And anytime something is like too easy, I step back. Like, why is this happening so easy? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think either one or two things. Like either I've already gone through the obstacles to make it an easy way, or I'm waiting for the destructive force. Like, okay, so what's going? You know what I'm saying? Not in a negative way, but I'm just like, well, anything too easy. But all right, we're gonna get into it. So the reason why I have you on here is because you always hitting me with these questions, y'all. Like this one right here will come through with a paragraph and be like, hey, so high heels. I was thinking, like, what's your take on this? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna have you come on, and we're gonna tap into some of these questions. Definitely, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and have the floor. What's the first question that you would like to ask?
Well, first of all, you know,
and first let's ask who you are, where you come from, things like that. You are Lightworker Wayne.
Yes.
Okay. How do we know each other? Let everybody know.
Okay. We known each other just through the circle provided by Artemis and Apache. Like I believe you witnessed me doing one of my motivational speeches, and then we had a conversation. Then when I told you I had a speech impediment, that's kind of like where our relationship just grew, because we kept conversating and talking. And just one thing I want to say is I look at you like a mentor. I look at you like a guru, you know? So like I hit you with all these questions because, you know, I'm finding answers, just trying to find answers spiritually, you know, that could also help me with my calling, and that could also help with some of the kids I teach, with some of the adults and young adults that I teach and mentor. So, you know, once again, I just give respect to that and blessings, because just, you know, seeing you, like I remember, I forgot what was her name, but you went all the way to DC, right? In regards to the, you know, the
defeat the mandate rally.
To defeat the mandate. And that was just respect, because I'm like, yo, she's really about this shit. I was like, yo, she's really a warrior. I was like, yo, she's really about this. So, but yeah, so, you know, I just wanted to say that first. You know, I just wanted to say that first. Okay. But, okay, like, so one of my questions, right, you know, as I venture on my journey, you know, I'm in the community a lot. You know, as part of my role, part as a behavioral health advocate, you know, is different roles that I do. One of the roles is social work, right? So I'm in the community, I'm in the hoods. You know, I have different clients from different backgrounds, right, that have different mental disabilities that I teach. And one thing I notice is, you know, I see some unproductive men and women, right? And I had to sit back and think, okay, I see these negative patterns, and a lot of them, you know, just wasn't schooled or taught anything, you know, but I see these patterns, and it's like, okay, I see some of these patterns in the spiritual community that both me and you come from. And it's like, all right, well, is the black man, right, in the spiritual community, right, is that the blueprint when he's have knowledge of himself, when he's acting in his highest, right? Is that the blueprint for other brothers to learn, to gravitate to, and to follow? You know, and I wanted your perspective on that, because I look at the spiritual community, you know, me being involved in it, I see people that did inner work, that did self-development, that did all these things, you know, and it's like, okay, well, I look at them in a certain light, you know, I expect them to carry themselves, I expect the men to carry themselves with light, you know, so I just wanted your perspective on that.
So it's interesting that you asked me that, because it's reminiscent of my guest I had last week. So, you know, I feel like the men in the conscious community, I'm not going to look at them any different from any other type of man, because at the end of the day, they are a man, regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just because you might have a certain level of education, or not even level, a certain scope of education that might be different from somebody else's scope, or just because you have different practices or routines, doesn't mean that you might be better as a man. Because even in the conscious community, I see a lot of misogyny, just as much as I see it from other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've had men in the conscious community actually literally say to me, hey, Heels, like, why you don't be like more sexy? Like, why you don't, you know what I'm saying? Why don't you promote that more? And I'm thinking, like, isn't this what, you know, mainstream is pushing right now? But you want me to push the same thing when you see that I'm a Muslim, for one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You see where my path is, you see my energy, but you're telling me to reduce myself. And I won't say reduce myself. Let me not do that, because I'm not saying that reducing myself, but you're telling me to change myself to be something to fit a man's eye rather than fit God's eye. And so you would expect more from someone that you think has a level or a scope of knowledge, but they are no different. Because even if you look at my guest last week, you could look at him, he tatted up, you know what I'm saying? He might be drinking, you know what I'm saying? He might be turned up at the club, but he was so respectful when I met him. And he has a thought of women that is honorable. He has a thought of himself. He has a thought of people that is honorable. So, no, I don't look at the men in the conscious community any different from any other men. Sometimes, even how when they push the polyamory and the polygamy, that is misogynistic in itself. Because a lot of these men are convincing their women to allow them to take on other women for sexual pleasure.
Just for sexual pleasure.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the origins of polygamy is actually nation building. So to be polygamous, you have to be a man that is able to take care of multiple families. My grandfather had multiple wives, not all living in the same house, not all sleep. Well, maybe they might have. I ain't gonna say. Maybe they might have. But he had to have permission from the king to have multiple wives. He had to be vetted to be able to do something like that. And he had to be able to take care of all of those households. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of times I be looking at them kind of like, you really ain't no different. You just know a lot about, you know, Bobby Hemmett, or you know a lot about Kemet, or you know a lot about meditation or the chakras. Yeah. But it don't mean that you is exactly better. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. I got that. And you know, too, with the polygamy thing, you know, I was watching a documentary. It's a lot more than just sex. And just like what you said, nation building. You know, like that's a lot of finances. As you know, you got to be at a certain. You got to be at a certain level to have that guap to be able to, you know, just circulate to this family, and that family.
Yeah.
And it is a great set of responsibilities, because you got kids with that person, kids with that other person, that you got to, you know, make sure that, you know, and just emotional management too.
Yes, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. And when we talk about the polyamory within this conscious community specifically, as a person who is an energy worker, I've worked with multiple clients where I'm pulling stuff off of them because of all of that intertwining. That's a lot of energies that you're putting together. So, I mean, I feel like if you are so conscious of energy and aware of how energy transfers, then you would want to be a little bit more particular about how you transfer that energy. But the energy that is being transferred through these people's sacral chakras, affecting the solar plexus, affecting the third eye, affecting the way that you think. I'm literally pulling entities off of people because there are girls that are convinced by they do, like, oh, this is not natural. You know, monogamy is not natural. Okay, well, it's not natural, but what you doing? Like, you don't even got your own car, homeboy. You don't even got your own place. You know what I'm saying? And you convincing this girl. You convincing her to pretty much have a threesome and try to use our ancestors.
I mean, he got all he need. He got game.
Yo.
That nigga don't need a car. He got hers and hers.
He got 3 different cars, man.
Right.
Hey.
3 different dummies. That's all they are.
Right. That's how it was looking.
It's like you said, I agree. Like, you know, when you want to take on more than one wife, you got to be able to sustain them in multiple ways, not just financially, but mentally. You got to be able to keep all of them happy. And it's fucking almost impossible to keep one woman happy. So how you gonna keep 3 women happy and have them not be mad at each other? You know what I'm saying? That shit is a science.
Right.
And I ain't gonna lie, I seen one dude, and what I noticed from him was, I seen 2 dudes. And I'm not gonna say it always works like this. I think that it's 1 or 2 ways it's gonna work, personally. I think the one way is if the man is very masculine and the women are all very submissive. You know what I'm saying? Very submissive. Like it's just, yo, whatever you do, whatever you want. The other way, which I see is way more common, is that the man is submissive. And there's a woman who's the leader, and the other women and the man listen to that woman. Because when I spoke to the one dude, the way it was he was like, yo, I just say whatever. Like, he just go with the flow. So that they're happy. You feel me? And they kind of decide what's going on. And I know when it's when it comes to females, there's always a leader and there's always a follower when it comes to women. And then the other dude I know had 4 girls he was living with.
What?
4. But the one girl was the leader over him as well, because I was dealing with him in a certain type of way. And after a while, she started coming by herself. And a lot of the times when I would talk to him, he'd be like, all right, let me talk to, you know, my girl, and then we'll talk about it. But when I used to talk to her, homegirl was making decisions. She ain't. It wasn't I got to call.
She ain't salty.
Yo. You know, it was crazy.
Your microphone.
So, yeah. I got to change the batteries, but that's basically how I see it. So either really submissive, or the man is really just, you know.
Oh, he dominant. Well, I'll say I'll give it up to Libras. I know I always go to the astrology because I look at them as energy sources, right? And I got this homeboy who is a Libra, and I'm telling you, this man is the only man that I can see that he ain't nobody man, but everybody is okay. Like, and that's why I be telling him, like, I can't really take you seriously. Like, you so cool, but you got too many women for me. But anytime I'm around, it's always another woman. And I think that all of us in our mind are thinking the same thing. Like, did they? I think they did. But he's the only man that I've ever seen. I feel like maybe it's that Libra energy where you could juggle because you have them scales to balance everything around. But yeah. So yeah, all that to say, no, I don't look at the men in the conscious community as the prototype. I don't look at them as the template. I look at any man who is a sound man, who respects women, especially if he respects his mother and love his mother, you already know he gonna love you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And who leads with truth, who leads with knowledge, who leads with good morals, good values, and who wants to just be a good person. That's what I think is the template ultimately. Yeah.
I got you with that. Definitely.
Yeah, because I've seen even disciplined men do things that I did not think they were gonna do. So I don't count anybody out.
Okay.
I don't count anybody out.
All right, definitely. And going into that too, you know, still with that conscious community, right? You know, so we got a lot of leaders, right? Well, you know, leaders. Some of them have mass followings, people that really believe in their causes, okay? But what happens when some of these leaders get caught up on charges? Like, I'm just going to say one, like caught up on child endangerment or
Cult leaders.
Cult leader. Yeah.
Who you said? Okay,
yeah.
let's.
Yes. So like being cult leaders and like when they get charged for sexualizing a child or whatever, right? And at that position, right, you got the people who believed in this person, right, cause. Now they're at a position where, okay, should I do my due diligence and research and find out if that's true? Which, of course, I recommend that because it's involving a child, of course.
Yes.
But you got some that just going to go along. Oh no, I believe this person, so I'm going to continue supporting. And you got some that's okay. Hey, I'm not dealing with it. But we also know that sometimes the government. We know that the government is involved when it comes to the leaders. When it comes to some of this conscious stuff. I mean, when we hear the story of Malcolm X, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So, I just wanted your perspective on that. Like, what.
So it puts me in the mind of Michael Jackson. So Michael Jackson, his life was ruined by these accusations of molestation, right? But once he died, and all of the, what are those called? What are they called? Disclosure. What are they called?
What the disclosure?
Yeah, what are those?
Yeah.
So all of the non-disclosure, all those agreements were lifted. The truth came out. This man did not molest anybody. Never molested one child. All of the people that brought on accusations were there getting money. Even I believe the father of one of the sons killed himself because he knew that they lied on Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson never molested not one child.
Wow. First of all, let's get something straight. Michael Jackson was the biggest pimp in the history of history. This man grabbed his dick more than anybody I know on stage.
Yo,
Mike was just a kid. He just never got to grow up.
Yes.
He was the epitome of a Toys R Us kid.
Yes.
But I do not see him molesting kids. He loved kids too much.
Yes.
He was just a kid himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
He grew up in a fucking box. He was the most famous man on earth.
Yes.
The most
at 5, 6, yes, right?
Yeah.
So when did he have a childhood?
Never.
And he had it. His whole life was a childhood.
Right, and he valued children so much.
The man was making songs about his pet rat.
I mean, right. Like, that's how much he didn't have other children to play with and didn't have playtime. So when you think of a man like that, and he valued children so much that any person that's gone to Neverland that wasn't thirsty for no money, they all be like, it was the most amazing experience I've ever had. I know people that knew Michael Jackson, and they always said, like, this man was amazing. I was a kid working with him. I was fine. So when you say about these allegations, I say that first and foremost, you got to use your own discernment, because at the beginning, something told me that he didn't do it. Like, I just felt it in my spirit. So you have to use your discernment. I'm not going to say, oh, okay, I love this person, so he could do no wrong. But don't act like they won't do that to somebody that we idolize or that we see in a positive light. Because even when you look at Michael, we'll bring it back to him. His last big accusation where he had the trial in 2003, look at what he had just did. He just created a whole R&B album in 2002. He talked about the industry and how bad the industry was. He was speaking up on the industry, and then boom, he got this big case. Boom. So, you know, when we talk about these accusations with some of these leaders, I do say to use discernment. I do say to think about it, investigate. But then we do have the flip side. Like, we got the nature boys, and we got them people that, you know, they a little off the wall.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So no, we don't want to follow cults. And I'm sure somebody gonna say something because they're gonna be like, isn't the nation a cult? No. Anyway, but you can think what you want. You can think what you want. Like, I put it this way. A cult can only take you if you allow it to take you. Like, if there is some knowledge that you want to attain, you take that knowledge for yourself but you remain yourself. You stay active in yourself. The only time people get caught up with a cult is when they have no knowledge of self. And I don't mean knowledge of self from a book. I mean knowledge of self, who you are, who Golda is. Yeah. I know where I came. I know why I came here. I didn't come here because I need to find myself in someone. I've already found myself. You know what I'm saying? So when we have all of those allegations and all those situations that come up, I'll say if you're a person that looks to someone and you're idolizing them or you're like following them, you need to follow yourself first. Right. You know what I'm saying? Tap into yourself first. And then if they've got some knowledge that they dropping on you, or you see a lifestyle that you enjoy, okay, put yourself in the lifestyle. But make sure you understand yourself. Right. Oh, you did a period. I got a period.
You got a period.
I know, right?
I thought y'all all had one, but yeah.
You said what?
Nothing.
What did you say?
It was a joke. Keep going.
I didn't even hear it.
I thought y'all all had one, but keep going.
Oh, I have a moon cycle. I like to call it. It's a moon cycle.
Okay.
It's a moon.
Yeah, we didn't have to keep going.
No, real talk. Like, because people like never get why I call it a moon.
I don't want to keep talking about it.
Oh Lord. Anyway,
I'm playing. Go ahead.
It's the most natural, dope like concept. Like, you know why we call it a moon cycle?
Why? I'm gonna have to hear it, right?
Really?
Go ahead.
So, okay, so the women's menstrual cycle is aligned with the moon cycle. So our menstrual cycle is a 28-day cycle. The moon cycle is a 28-day cycle. So when you are aligned, like mine comes on the full moon to the day every month. So I don't keep track of when.
Does that make you a werewolf?
It makes, I don't know. Am I a witch? I don't know.
I mean, because you're dealing with
a werewolf.
Blood under the full moon. It's weird. It's like that makes you a wolf, doesn't it?
I mean,
you might be a werewolf.
Maybe. I don't know. I know that I'm like next level, but maybe I am. But yeah. So our cycle goes with the moon cycle. So that's why women
She's
are
down.
I mean, really, if you think about it, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad calls the woman the second to God.
Yeah.
So if you look at even when you take it to that aspect, like we are aligned with nature so much that how could we not be the second to God? Like our cycle is with the moon. So if I wanted to have a baby, then I would probably want to have sex to conceive on the new moon, since I know that my cycle comes on full moon. So. Yeah.
Wow. Hey.
Learn something today, people.
Yeah. So that's why it's my moon.
That's why it's the moon.
It's the moon cycle.
Yeah.
So
I did not know that, but that's the science.
Yes. So women like really tap into when your cycle comes. It does tell you a lot about yourself. Like they say, women like when you're with the full moon, so that's a red moon, then you are kind of at a place where you should be putting your powers outward, where you should really be like personifying yourself. When your flow goes with the new moon, that's the time to be cultivating yourself and be more inside of yourself. You know what I'm saying? So now that might be a good time of learning or doing like shadow work, whatever you're doing. But when it's aligned with the full moon, that's like it's go time. Like let that shine. You know what
Time to get pregnant, girl.
No.
That's not what you meant?
No.
You said cultivating yourself. Isn't that like you cultivate a farm?
Yeah. Your spirit. Your spirit.
Oh, your spirit. Not
no more baby. Oh, look. I got 5.
Yeah, she got. Yeah.
Yeah. It got to be a very powerful man.
To do what?
To make me have another one. Yeah, okay. He got to be powerful.
It seems like you're pretty fertile. You got to be that powerful.
Yeah.
All you got to do is be equipped. It's going down.
Just got to look at me.
Don't look at it too hard. You're looking too hard. It's about to happen.
I feel it.
Her shit is a magnet. Like, they could be in the next room. That shit going to fly into the next room. They'll go find it. So, whoop.
It'd be like on Don't Be a Menace.
Right.
Where she's like, I'm pregnant.
Right,
like,
right away.
I'm
pregnant. Like, what?
Like, damn.
Oh my God. Okay. Crazy. So next question. I feel like you had another question.
Yeah. The other question was, okay, with your background, the Nation of Islam, right? And how they have an emphasis with mathematics. Like I started, just on my journey, right? I started seeing angel numbers and things and sequences, right? And I wanted to know, because I was watching a live with you and Blue Pill, and you was talking about how numbers have a consciousness.
Yes.
Like, and I know that, sequences of numbers do mean something like, 111, new beginnings.
Yes.
time to manifest and stuff like that. But just if you could dive in a little bit deeper in regards to that, like what just the aspect of the consciousness of numbers, because and two, I heard you say that the 4, right? Because I've been seeing a lot of 444s.
Okay. Oh,
right?
I have too.
Yeah, and I remember you saying that it's feminine. You know.
So Brother Blue said it was feminine. So because, you know, we like to be right and exact. That's why I started to look it up, because I wanted it. Well, it is 2 is the most feminine number. So that's probably why he said 4 is a feminine number. But when we talk about the vibration of numbers, so numbers are a language. It's a universal language through dimensions, right? Yes. So no matter what an entity or something that might have manifested in the physical or that might have never manifested in the physical, numbers is a constant communication. So that is how, like, when you see numbers, you are receiving a level of communication. Also, numbers having a vibration, we are created through time, right? Time, that's numbers. Okay. So we are created through numbers. Even when we look at the coding of our computers and things like that, 101, everything is numbers. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So even when you think of how people are understanding theories of relativity and things, numbers. So all is of numbers. Like Islam is mathematics, right? Because God is mathematic. So even they say, I want to make sure I say it the right way. Anything that happens, it's like you must be understanding, because whatever happens is through the mathematics of Allah's will anyway. So everything is mathematics. So to get caught up in emotions, you're going to distort yourself. We want to be right and exact. Mathematics is right and exact. If no matter what happens, this is another way of saying it is what it is. But whatever happens, it's in the equation of what is to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, anytime we're thinking of anything within physics, within quantum physics, mathematics. But energy, mathematics. We are all energy. You know what I'm saying? Yes, so math goes hand in hand with life.
I see that.
When you talk about seeing 444, so going back to Brother Blue, so 44, he's a 44 resonator. So he talks a lot about the 44 resonation. And I'm going to speak on my take, because I'm not going to speak for Brother Blue, because, you know, that's
you like, better not.
That's the master. That's the master on the 44. You know what I'm saying? But I think he might be. But no, so I took his lecture, the Law of 44. And what I gather from it, because you see 44 represented in all happenings within, like, he broke it down. You know, he'd be decoding. So it just, all sorts of stuff happens. You can add up, and it goes back to 44 resonation. But what I gather from 44, when you see 444, 4 is in relation to Christ consciousness for me. When we think of the 144, right? You know what I'm saying? The 144 select, right? Yes. To live on Allah's purpose, or actually everybody has their own take on 144.
Yeah, that's in the Bible too. It's supposed to be 144 people that move on to be next to God, and then that's when the end of the world is supposed to come. Once he takes those 144,000 people, there's 144,000. Once that last person passes on, and supposedly that person was supposed to still be. It was supposed to be alive in the early 1900s, so they saying that's why they saying the end was coming, because the people that's a part of that 144,000, the last one was supposed to be somebody that was born in the 1900s, like born in 1919 or 1920 or something like that. So that's what they say. So allegedly.
I mean, but
it's crazy that you say that every religion does have that 144 thing going on.
Because 144,000, that is the number that is of the select. But when we talk about Christ consciousness, we just hit the dawning of the age of Aquarius. That was December 21st of 2020, right? And so we see the awakening of Christ consciousness. So there's a lot of people that be like, I see 444 all the time, right? And so whatever people are saying that, it sparks me, because I feel like, okay, so you're aligning with Christ consciousness now. Because, like, even people that are not even, like, super tapped in or trying to be tapped in are tapped in. You did?
Yeah. Right.
Because
it's not about whether you want to be, it's about you are who you are.
Exactly.
Yes.
We
it's
are
either
selected.
you tapped in.
You already pre-selected.
You already chosen.
So we see each other in each other. Right. We find each other. If I meet you and I'm like, okay, I feel your energy. I can feel your alignment to Christ consciousness. Even if you are not aware of it, I can feel that energy. Right. Like even I got 444 tatted on my arm. Don't know what made me get that tatted on my arm. Have no clue. You know what I'm saying? But then once I really like dived into that aspect, I was like, I understand. Like I marked myself. Like all of my tattoos are markings of my journey and who I am and what I am. But going back to these numbers have vibrations. They are almost living, if you think of it, because everything is energetic. So once you start to allow the numbers and the energy of the numbers to talk to you, it's another communication, like that movie. Yo. So there was this movie called Interstellar. If you have a moment.
Yeah. Yo, I know what you're talking about.
So I got to talk about this because it was like next level.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
So this movie, right? They, okay, I'm going to like paraphrase it because I don't want to go like forever. But they went through like a wormhole, a black hole, right?
They went through the black hole.
So, but at the end of the movie, like, okay, so at the beginning, like throughout the movie, his daughter kept talking about this ghost.
Well, no, it wasn't a black hole. It was
like a wormhole.
It was a portal.
A portal.
A portal to get you to
like a wormhole.
To get to another dimension faster.
So it was a wormhole.
Someone placed it there. Yeah. So
the thing about it that got me was because in the movie they kept talking about these things that were placing it there, these things that were communicating with them, right? Yeah. So finally, when he went through it, he was in this like space. And
no. He didn't go through the porthole when that happened. He went to the porthole and he went to the other side of the universe.
Right.
When he was coming back and realized he wouldn't make it back to Earth, he then went through the black hole.
Okay.
And he actually went into it instead of like the way they did it to come. He did it differently this time.
Yeah.
He kind of like did suicide. Like fuck it, I'm just gonna go through it and see what happened.
Right.
And then remember he busted out the he ejected out of the spaceship.
Yes.
And then that's when he got to the space you're talking about.
Right.
Which was in between all the 5 different dimensions.
Yes.
He was in between them, and
dimension.
he can see all the other dimensions happening at once.
Yes.
Like they were overlapping.
Yes. It was dope. He was pretty much in the 5th dimension, which we talk about the 5th dimension, and we talk about numbers being a way of 5th dimensional creatures to communicate with us, right?
Yeah.
Or beings. So the way that he was communicating, he could see his daughter, but like in the past, you know what I'm saying? So he went through space and time because how he was so far in space that, you know, it was 10 minutes for him, but it was like decades for people on Earth. Yeah. So he could see his daughter and he couldn't communicate. So he remembered that his daughter was learning Morse code. So he was tapping and
he was pushing
the
books out so that if you look at the books straight across, it was a Morse code with the books missing, like one book missing, then 2, then 3, then 1. He sent the message through they had a big
like a bookshelf.
Like bookshelf.
Yeah.
He sent the message through the books.
Right.
But the wild part is he was also present when the messages was coming on that side with his daughter.
Yes.
So he was seeing his daughter was telling him, "I feel like it's a ghost." He said she said it feels like a person, but it was actually him sending communicating from another dimension.
Yes.
Because when they went to the other planet, you know, they say time is relative. So with gravity can alter time. So when they got to this other planet, if they went through the planet's atmosphere, that's when the time changed. Like she said, every hour on that planet was 10 years on our planet. So they had to get down there, get in and get out. But something happened, so they ended up spending an hour and change in there. So when they came back up, 27 years had passed already.
Right.
And they was only gone for like an hour. For them, it was an hour. For the nigga waiting on the spaceship. This nigga's waiting on the spaceship for them to come back. And it was 20 something years. The nigga was old.
He old and gray.
He said after 10 years I almost gave up. Like it was crazy.
But the thing about it, think about what Morse code is. Morse code is through numbers.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
So that was what was mind blowing. He's in the 5th dimension, and the only way he could communicate was
through the
numbers.
Yeah.
So numbers is a form of communication through space, through time, through dimensions.
But through everything, because you have to realize.
Oh no, because the things. Okay, so I had this like I did this crazy like wild shamanic journey in January. It was January 19th, 2019, and like I just I've never done anything like that ever again. That one time they just showed me all sorts of stuff. That's why I was like, okay, I'm an oracle. And the end, what they showed me was us developing back into light beings. So in that movie, when he realized that we created this, like them beings, that's us, but just farther in time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, anyway, that was deep. But go ahead, what were you going to say?
That is crazy. No, I was going back to the computer because when you said the basics of a computer, the total basics, and that's the basic of human life too. I feel like they use that to program computers. The basic in a computer is the 1 and the 0, but the 1 and the 0 really just the 1 and the 0 just represents on and off. So all a computer understands is on or off. So when you start to chop up on and off in mad different levels, it creates communication, which is the simplicity of 1 and 0.
Yes.
It's like even to this day, us seeing whatever we see on a computer is a billion series of 1 and 0s on and off.
Right.
On and off. It's either left or right.
Right.
That's all a computer understands.
Right.
If you do this, I'm gonna do this. If you do that, I do this. If you do this, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's how life is. It's really a basics of choices and decisions. Remember, like I told you, the movie I wanted to create called either it's gonna be called Right or Left or Decisions. So basically, it's just showing that because of the Men in Black movie.
Yes. Yes.
Like he was able to see in multiple dimensions.
Yes.
And the thing is depending on your decision, depending on which
like littlest
depending on your decision determined which outcome came about. This guy could see all the outcomes of all the decisions you could have made.
Simultaneously.
So simultaneously he could see all the decisions you could have made. So when he's sitting there and he goes, oh my God, if he forgets to tip, then this is gonna happen. And when the guy walked out, he said, oh, like he thought it was gonna be bad. Then he said, oh, I forgot to tip you. Boom. He said, oh, this is that one. So it's like for him, he sees through many, you know what I'm saying? Many different. He sees all the scenarios,
right.
Which is also they trying to say that's the multiple dimensions where in this dimension you could live and I die. In the next dimension, I died and you live. You understand what I'm saying? Like I kind of got a theory to where to me it's like the life that I see and know for me is either the best or the worst one. I don't know what it's going to be. But the thing is I think that in everyone's life that they live and they realize through their eyes, you know, is the one where I can't explain it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we was talking about, like say you died, but then you know you just keep continuing because for somebody else, oh he died. But for you, life just keeps continuing because you keep going down the path that's gonna go all the way to the end. But for everybody else, like young Dolph died. But for young Dolph personally, his energy could have probably lived to an old man.
Yeah.
And through his view.
Yes.
He's lived to an old man, and maybe Yo Gotti died.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? Or somebody else, anybody he had beef with. You know,
Yeah.
not to put them together, but
I don't even know they have beef. So
whatever,
yeah. But no, you know.
But you get what I'm saying? Like that's
totally.
how all those different dimensions. Like maybe for each person, you live the one for you, and
Right.
then. But when everybody else, like I got cousins that passed away when they was young, they probably lived in their view. They lived to be old.
Yeah.
So that's where I think all the dimensions come from. Where
It's all like
Yeah.
No, you know what though?
And you could pass through them through sleep.
Yeah. Yes.
You can pass through them through
yes,
sleep.
yes.
You know.
I definitely feel like I'd be, because when people die, like right after they die, it's like because I'm a medium. And so, like, a lot of people have come to me after they die, and it's like they don't know their dad. Like, my mom, she was, like, walking around the house, like, looking through doors and stuff, kind of like, what's going on? Like, where am I? Like, what's happening? It's almost like their energy doesn't realize, like, oh, I've died, because their energy is still constant. So I totally get what you mean. Like, she's living her own life still.
That part could have just been a dream for her.
Right.
That never happened in real life.
Right.
And not in life that she sees.
Yes.
She just probably had a dream that, I was over there. And probably in that dimension telling you, you know I had a dream that you came over?
Right.
Because you probably wouldn't have been there if she didn't pass. You know what I'm saying? If she didn't pass away, you wouldn't have been at the house. You only came to stay at the house because, right?
Well, I stayed with her to help her for the last 6 months.
That's what I'm saying. So, but if she didn't need that, and for her, it's like, oh, you know, she could be calling you in her life, like, hey, I had a dream you was over here,
like, what was
and I was looking for something, and like you was just standing there, like, what was you doing? Yeah, you know,
right? Yeah, I totally get it.
It can get deep.
It can get deep. Hey, you better go down the wormhole real quick. Don't get the rabbit hole. That rabbit hole. Okay. Hey, so let's pivot because I do want to talk about what you do with mental health. Yes. Because I feel like that's something in our community that we got to really tap into. And I think we've started, but I want us to keep on with that because a lot of what we do, we're kind of built to push through. And we don't meet things face to face a lot. And we don't tap into our mental health resources. So what do you do as far as mental health?
Okay. So I'm a behavioral health specialist. So basically, right, that accompanies case manager, social work, mentor, life coach. So I work with a couple of mental health agencies, right? And we visit individuals that are on state insurance. Some also may have different insurance, but we provide coaching and therapy in regards to anger management, depression management, anxiety, schizophrenia, right? So just in my experience, and now even if it's an individual that doesn't have a high intensity of a mental health, we all go through those emotions just on a lower level, right? So through my experience, right, I come out in the community and I meet with the individual at their place of home or a place that they're comfortable, or we could just do it virtually, right? And I teach them ways to manage those mental health through holistic coping skills, through practical skills. You know, if you're having anxiety is just the fear of the future. So one thing I teach as far as managing your anxiety, deep breathing, a nice a couple of times that you're doing that. I also teach individuals redirection. Redirect your perspective, right? You're focusing on that thing that's building up, that's giving you the anxiety. Once you redirect the focus, you start thinking about something else. Start thinking about maybe a pleasurable moment. Start thinking about a time where you was feeling bliss and happiness and hope. Start thinking about a time where you was chilling with your family, you know, and everything was good, you know, because when you give depression, anxiety, anger, when you give, and even schizophrenia, when you give them energy, it becomes larger. You know, when you give them the attention, the focus, those mental health becomes larger. And one thing I want to preach to everyone is to, when you're dealing with it at the time, first acknowledge your triggers, you know, learn from it, acknowledge what causes your anger, what ticks you off, right? What causes the depression, what puts you in that low vibration, right? Once you identify the triggers, come up with positive solutions to overcome it. And how you do that is, okay, through the holistic techniques, through redirecting your perspective, breathing, exercising, you know, maybe doing yoga, dance. Because, see, all it is, you know, is these negative energies, and you got to move them out. If you keep them inside, like, you know, a lot of people that have anger issues, they keep the anger inside. They never vent out. It's growing like a cancer. But when you move it out, you know, either poetry, journaling, speaking, when you move it out, it goes out. It comes out. And now you're able to feel more relief.
So how do people find out their triggers? Like, for someone who is like, okay, you say like, okay, identify my triggers. How do I know what my triggers are? How do I know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's a tough one.
Yeah. And see, that comes into knowing yourself, being more self-aware, right? At that time, you got to pause, look within yourself. How you do that is go back to your memory. You know, think about past instances that have occurred that got you triggered, that got you mad. Maybe certain subject matters that gets us triggered that we feel passionate about, and write it down. Because when you write it down, it becomes in reality. You know, once you write it down, you can use that as your guideline, and then have the positive counteracts, have the positive solutions to overcome it. You know, so that's what I say. It takes a measure of you knowing yourself. Some people may not be at that level, so that's why we talk it out. You know, I'll ask questions like, okay, well, you know, go back when you was going to school. What's some things that made you upset? Or, you know, what made you upset when you was arguing with your husband or your significant other, you know? Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this?
Yeah, I've been doing this for 3 years. You know, I started doing this when I came from my transformation when I was homeless for 9 months, and I was just living in my mom's car. So I started working for Atlanta Public School, and a gentleman, he saw me there. He saw how good I interacted with the kids, and he put me on to this type of career field. So ever since then, you know, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing.
So have you ever had to deal with mental health issues?
Oh, yeah. Part of being in this field is like, you carry home some of that shit. Like you actually carry home some of that shit, and how I have to deal with it. I gotta meditate.
Yes.
I gotta meditate.
Yes.
I gotta meditate. I gotta put my feet in the grass. I gotta ground myself.
Yes.
You know, or if I become triggered because of a client, right, I'll reserve it and just save it for when I'm doing my exercise and release it all out there.
Now, when you say triggered because of a client, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like triggered?
Okay. So everyone has their triggers, right? My trigger is with certain people who don't want to do the work, but that's something that I gotta understand. Hey, not everybody is going to tap into their greatest version of themselves. You know, it just is what it is. So I become triggered, you know, at times where I see the person is more capable, but they're not really going after it, or they're not trying to, you know? Right. So, yeah. I mean,
what you mean, where it's like, why are you coming here for the help if you don't want to get helped? I do.
Exactly.
I know exactly what you mean, where it's someone like, because what we had, where was I? I think I was in like it was a New Moon Circle at the Zen Bar, and I believe Mama Tassili was talking about that, where she was saying that, talking about this aspect of, you know, our community never really wanting to acknowledge our trauma. We just push it away and push it away.
That's real.
But then I was like, but then we do have that flip side of people who live in their trauma. Yes. And to the point where, okay, like, I get it. Okay, so you need to heal. You keep saying you need to heal, but you're not healing. Yeah. Like, you're not doing it. Yeah. So, so is this just where you want to live? Like, is this where you're comfortable? Are you trying to do the work? Or are you not? Because I completely identify, like, I've had, when I first started doing sessions, doing readings for people, I had one client that just kept wanting to come back, like, every month, and I finally was like, no, we're not doing a session. We're not doing a reading. Yeah. And they were just like, and I said, because I think that you're now depending on this to tell you what to do, and you're not doing it. Like, every time I'm telling, I feel like we gonna give it like 3 months or something. You know what I'm saying? Because whatever I'm saying, you're not doing it. So you just keep asking me the same. It feels like I'm just going in circles doing the same thing, almost like draining my energy at this point. But so I totally understand, and I hope that when people like get into that place where they're like, okay, like, I have this trauma. All right, you've identified trauma. Like, it's time to work on that. Yes. And if you feel like you don't know where to work on it, like, especially I know I'm. Because you just hit that, you hit a trigger.
I know, right? Yeah.
Because I know people where I'm just like, they constantly asking for help, and I'm presenting help, but you're not taking it. You're still doing the same stuff. So I think that we have a lot of people that are comfortable in their trauma, and that's identifying themselves. You know what I'm saying?
And that's exactly what it is. See. Okay. You know, the world is waking up more towards mental health, but it's still resistance and barriers. People say therapy don't work. The only people that say therapy don't work is people that don't want to do shit. People that don't want to do the work.
That ain't done therapy.
You know, yeah. People that don't want to do the work, because therapy, it's only 20 minutes. It's only 20% of me talking to you. The rest, you got to do the work. you know, and that got to be consistent. Going back to the mathematics, persistence.
Yes.
You know, yes.
Keep working on that problem. Because, like, even with Reiki and things like that, when I have people that I do energy work on, it's like people feel like, okay, I got it done and that's it. But I'm like, no, like, you got things to still do. That's not, there's no quick fix.
Yeah.
Like, that's why people get on medication, because medication gives you the facade that you are fixed. Like, because you know, I had PTSD, and the anxiety, like, that can be, like, that was like being stuck in a K-hole. Like, you can't move. So the medication was cool because it made me feel normal again. But then I got pregnant and I wasn't taking the medication, and then it hit all over again. Like, oh, like, this is a whole lot. So it's like, really, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of really having to take the responsibility of your health or your mental health. And so a lot of people don't, you know, they don't want that. So we have a little bit of time left. I do want to ask, so if somebody feels like they are having a mental health crisis, like what steps should they take? What should they do?
Well, if it's a mental health crisis to where they're feeling suicidal, they need to call this number. I'm about to pull it up, and it's the Georgia Crisis Line, right? Let me
So if they just feel like they're just having a mental health crisis, or if they feel like suicidal, they can go to this number right here.
Yes. And that number, what they'll do is it's a licensed professional that will coach them through that, right? And will also forward them to other resources and facilities. All right.
Okay.
So the number is 800-715-4225. So 800-715 and 4225.
Okay. Yeah. So tap into that, and then if they are not feeling suicidal and they just feel like, I feel like maybe I'm depressed. What should they do? What are some steps that they should take?
Okay. They should go on Google. Just search search mental health agencies. It's a lot of them. In Atlanta. To name a couple, you got Greenlee Behavior Health, you got Life Rediscovery Center, and what they could do is when they look up the information of these agencies, contact them, and then they could seek further help, because these agencies will set them up with a therapist, right? It will set them up with a behavioral health specialist, and also help them just with programs as well, you know. And even if they don't particularly like that, is also other therapists that they could redirect them to, you know. But the point is that you got to talk to somebody. You know, you can't just hold all that shit in. You got to talk to somebody. You know, that's the key thing.
Okay.
You know?
All right. So before I let you go, let everybody know where they can follow you, how they can tap in.
Okay.
Where can they follow you?
So you can follow me on IG, TikTok, YouTube as Lightworker Wayne, LIGHT, and WORKER, then Wayne, WAYNE. You know, so you can tap in with me with there. I have my motivational speech videos, and I also have videos where I'm just talking about mental health and talking about things and how it correlates to mental health. Also on Instagram, every Wednesday I do a thing called Lightworker Wednesdays, where people could tap in and receive free therapy.
Okay.
You know, they could go on live with me and receive free therapy. And we'll talk about, you know, some of the issues that they go to, because see, you know, therapy just ain't the anger, depression, and all that. Also, you know, we teach conflict resolution skills. You know, a lot of couples need that. You know, you get into arguments, y'all both want to holler at each other. What would be better? Y'all take a couple of minutes, y'all chill, and y'all talk to each other, communicate, and find out, okay, well, what's those code words you can say to, you know, to let your spouse or your significant other know that, hey, just leave me be for right now. You know what I'm saying? So it goes in deeper with that, because like with therapy, it's like general guidance as well. You know, so it's a lot of all that encompass. So, but yeah, you know, I was getting off track.
No, you're
but
fine.
you can find me on those social media platforms, right? Or you can feel free to tap into Lightworker Wednesdays, you know, and
Lightworker Wayne, motivational speaker, behavioral health parapro.
Yes.
You can go to www.lightworkerwayne.com. Bam.
Yeah, and I got my socials.
Oh,
on the
look
back.
at your government is Dwayne Richards.
Yes,
Hey,
yeah.
his name is Dwayne Wayne. Hey, I like finding people's governments out real quick. Cause I don't know, right? I totally did feel like that. I mean, yeah.
Yes.
It's always different when you hear people real like government name. You're like, oh, may infinite abundance be drawn to you daily. So yes, tap into Lightworker Wayne, mobile phone number 404-798-9851.
Hey, who said he wanted to give everybody his
It's
number
on a card.
that he gives to people personally?
Is that okay that I just did that?
It's okay, but on the on the radio, you don't want to give it to just anybody.
I don't know.
It's a business card that you hand to people.
My business phone number is like open to every person that calls it. I don't know.
Yeah, but you don't want hagglers. There's people that sit on these things just to fuck with people.
Well, yeah.
Hell
you know
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you give them your Instagram.
Hey, yo, so look, how come one time, sorry, this random before we go. Somebody called my phone one day and I guess they didn't know they hung up and he was like saying something and she was talking some crazy and he was like, oh my God, the phone is on. She can hear us. It was so weird.
Yeah.
My bad. So just forget all of that hallucination.
Right, it's too late. Tap in. Tap in, call if you got to.
Mike
Get
Jones.
That's
all I thought was Mike Jones. All right, y'all. So that is our show for today. We're going to leave with a little motivational word from Lightworker Wayne. But I will see you guys next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. We're going to leave with Lightworker Wayne. Tongue twister.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. I think. Okay. So. I want to talk to y'all about something important. Something that everyone needs in their life. I want to talk about the power of positivity. Because when you utilize the power of positivity, it raises your vibration for you to overcome the claws of negativity. Because the power of positivity will ensure that you succeed in your dream. The power of having a positive belief will make your dreams come closer. Utilize the power of positivity for you to overcome the claws of negativity. Let's get it! Because when you utilize the power of positivity, it will overcome, boosts your immune system. Your mind is able to attract those dreams and aspirations that you want. Everybody in here that has a dream, that has a goal, that has a belief, a thing that you want to do, a thing that you was created, your purpose that you've been dreaming about, the thing that gives you the energy, the drive, the motivation. Tap into it, but utilize positivity. Utilize positivity each day by waking up by saying positive affirmations. Say positive affirmations like I am greatness, I am blessed, I am abundant, I am prosperity, I am attracting my dream life. And watch, you shall live that. Watch, you shall manifest that. But you must maintain the power of positivity. Don't succumb and lie in the cave of negativity, because that's lower your vibration. That weakens your immunity. That weakens your mind. Understand that the source and connect in the divine flows through you. So connect to that energy and be a part of the infinite energy, the source energy, the love energy. I'm talking about positivity. So go out there and achieve your dreams and be positive and focus on that dream and goals and aspirations, because I'm here to tell you one thing: you have the power inside of you, and it's always been there. Just believe in yourself. Hey, let's get it! Period.
You are now tuned in to Black Ink Radio.